morning. Do I need to notify you? I'm representing.
And when I do that, it should pick up. It does. It
Okay.
lights up the box around
Nice.
the audio input. And so if we did an audio test over there, hopefully it would light up the box on this screen.
Got it.
Okay.
You.
Are you going to be singing?
Oh, I could tell already. Okay. Testing, testing.
Good morning to everyone who is joining us here in the Board of Public Works hearing room this morning, November 15th. Good morning to everyone who is joining us via the virtual platform. We do have some attendees and some panelists, and we have some attendees that I'm promoting to panelists via the virtual platform. We are allowing Bureau staff to present virtually today, and we will also allow Bureau staff to present virtually on Friday as well. And then we'll resume our normal protocol for in-person only for presenters starting next Wednesday and thereafter. I apologize for the echo, if anyone's hearing that. I would like to take this opportunity to encourage anyone who's joining us as a member of the public who wishes to offer public commentary or commentary on any of our agendized items this morning, who is here joining us in person. If you would please fill out a speaker card located in the back of the room on the table, indicate which item you'd like to speak on, and your information such as your name, and hand that speaker card to me. I will record your name for the record. And if there is anyone who is a member of the public who would like to offer public commentary or comment on any of our items, who is joining us via the virtual platform, the Zoom platform today, if you would kindly press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute. I'll ask you to unmute and identify yourself for the record and which item you'd like to speak on, and I'll record your information. And seeing no hands raised, I'm going to go ahead and go off of audio. Actually, before I do that, could I ask Miguel Zermeno to unmute and provide audio input so I can verify that I can hear you?
You hear me? This is Miguel. TJ, can you hear me?
Okay, Miguel, I can barely hear you. Can you keep talking and I can see if I can...
TJ, can you hear me?
Go ahead, keep talking, Miguel.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everybody. How are you, TJ?
Are we okay? Thank you, Miguel. Is it able to hear Miguel in the room? No. Okay. Keep talking, Miguel. I'm going to make
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm presenting item number 7.
Excellent. I think we've made an thank you so much, Miguel. I totally appreciate you.
Gotcha. All right, I'm
helping
going to
me
go back
with
on
this.
mute now.
Yes, awesome. Thank you, Miguel. I appreciate
No
it.
problem. Thank you.
So what I'm doing, Jen, real quick, is
I'll go up. My phone is unmuted.
Hi, yes, this is Erica Blyther, LA City Petroleum Administrator. Can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you. Thank you, Erica.
Great, yes, I'll be presenting item 2.
Excellent. Thank you for checking in.
No problem.
And then what I did with the speaker volume on the laptop was it's almost maxing out, because if I didn't max it out, then we couldn't hear it. There was someone in the middle row saying they couldn't. Yes. So that's the workaround I saw.
Morning, Commissioner.
And good morning once again. I am getting a little bit of feedback. I apologize. Let me adjust the volume back down on my laptop. There we go. I do see Melinda's hand raised. Melinda, if you would please unmute.
Hi, TJ. Would you please add Martha Inikas to panelist? She will be presenting on item number 3.
I'm sorry, Melinda, I missed the first part of what you said. I did catch you saying something about item number 3.
Yes, please add Martha Inikas
Yes,
as the panelist. She will be presenting on item number 3.
promoting Martha to panelist right now. Thank you so much.
And then Gary LaCole should be joining us later as backup from the division in case there are technical questions. So if you can please add him as panelist as well when he joins.
Gary LaCole, also on item 3?
Yes,
Got it. Thanks so much.
thank you.
Good morning once again. This is TJ Knight, and I would like to welcome members of the public and Bureau representatives, Bureau staff who are joining us in the hearing room today. If there's any members of the public who wish to offer public comment or commentary on any of our items this morning, please fill out a speaker card located in the back of the room on the table. Indicate which item you'd like to speak on and your name, and hand it to me. Also, I do see some attendees. If there's any members of the public joining us via our virtual Zoom platform who wish to offer public comment or commentary on any of our items this morning, please press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute. I'll ask you to unmute, and you can identify yourself for the record and which item you'd like to speak on. I can record your name for the record. And it is about 10:05. I don't see anyone identifying them, raising their hand at this time. And we should get started in the next couple of minutes. Thank you so much. And then I go into record to the cloud, and it pops up a pop-up for it. And we are in record mode, President Garcia.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, November 15th, 2023. TJ Knight.
Thank you, President Garcia. Good morning. And this is TJ Knight, Assistant Executive Officer, taking role in establishing quorum. President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, Commissioner Corson, Commissioner Reyes are present. We are also joined by City Attorney Representative Virginia Choi. Once again, I'm Assistant Executive Officer TJ Knight. President Garcia, we have no speaker cards under public comment, no neighborhood council commentary, and no speaker cards under any of our items this morning.
Very well, thank you for that. Given that we do not have any general public comment, public comments are now officially closed. Moving on to the first item in today's business, which is the approval of the minutes of Friday, October 27, 2023. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item? Thank you, VP Villegas. TJ Knight, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to approve the minutes of Friday, October 27, 2023.
Very good, and we will take a roll call vote. Starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas. Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
Commissioner Reyes. And President Pro Tem Davis. Thank you. All ayes, and the item is approved.
Thank you for that, TJ. Moving on to the first item in today's agenda. Before I do that, I just want to recognize the slight change today, which is we have presenters joining us online today. This is to be aligned with our message on if we do not have to ingress or egress out of downtown. We are aligning ourselves to that today. So thank you, everybody that's joining us in person. And thank you for everyone that's joining us via social platform, via Zoom. So all presenters will be online today. And just stay tuned for more information for Friday's meeting. As of now, we will have a meeting Friday, and we are still on the schedule to have a meeting next Wednesday as well. So with that said, I'm moving on to the first item on today's business, which is a request from the Bureau of Street Services in Council District 8. This is a tree removal at 1623 West Manchester Avenue, recommending the board to, one, find that the tree removal is categorically exempt under Section 15332, Class 32 of the State Environmental Quality Act guidelines, and there is no substantial evidence the proposed project will have significant effect on the environment and is in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. 2, find that none of the exceptions to the use of the categorical exception as set forth in Section 15300.2 of the state CEQA guidelines apply. 3, specify that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, is custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. 4, review and approve this tree removal permit request for the removal of 3 London plane trees for the construction of 2 driveway approach aprons and for staging to allow for the installation of a Department of Water and Power transformers in relation to an Executive Directive 1 affordable housing project. Tree replacements are required. And 5, concur with the Bureau of Street Services determination that the site cannot feasibly accommodate all of the required replacement trees in pursuant to LAMC 62.177C, authorize the tree replacement guarantee fee to satisfy the board's tree planting requirement. And this morning, I see we have Mr. Brian Ramirez with us. Brian, welcome. Looking sharp there.
Thank you. Good morning, Honorable Board of Public Works.
Give us 1 second. We're going to pick up your audio. Try talking again.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Hang on.
Go ahead, Brian.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear?
A little better, yes. Give us 1 second.
No, we can't pick it up through that.
Let's try now, Brian.
Testing. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. A little better.
Go ahead.
Great. I'll do my best to speak as clearly as I can for the audio. So I
Give me
stayed
a
by
second.
saying
We're going to
good.
close that window.
Can
Think
you
we
hear me?
need a little louder, if we can get it louder.
Good morning. Testing.
The board president is just closing one of the windows. We're getting some interference from some construction that's happening right outside the board hearing room. Brian, I apologize for the delay. Go ahead and start. If you could just give me some audio input, and I'll try and make some adjustments right now, Brian.
Sure. Testing. Testing. Testing audio.
Okay, I think we can hear you. Go ahead, Brian.
Great, TJ. I can hardly hear you now, but I hope I'm able to be heard and my audio is coming across clearly. Again, I want to say good morning to the board. My name is Brian Ramirez, and I will be presenting item number 1 today. The request is for the Board of Public Works to approve a fee permit to remove 3 London Plane Platanus hispanica trees for driveway installation and for staging area needed for the installation and maintenance of an LADWP transformer. This is in relation to an Executive Directive 1 affordable housing project, and tree replacements are required. The property owner is currently constructing an affordable housing project consisting of a new 5-story, 50-unit, 100% mixed-use apartment with 3 levels of type VA apartment over 2 levels of type 1A apartments, office parking and amenities using transit-oriented communities, Tier 3 incentives. The project is located at 1623 West Manchester Avenue within the South Los Angeles community. The property owner's representative, Terry Dickerhoff of CGR Development, submitted an application to the Urban Forestry Division requesting the removal of 3 trees in relation with the ongoing project. A field inspection was performed by Streets LA Arborist on June 22nd, 2023, and the Streets LA Arborist inspected and addressed the potential impacts to all street trees adjacent to the project. The inspection revealed that there are a total of 5 London Plane trees growing in 4-foot tree wells. All trees are in fair to poor condition, measuring approximately 8 to 12 inches in diameter by approximately 12 to 20 feet in height. 3 of the 5 trees will require removal to allow construction of the approved project's design elements and required infrastructure. 1 London Plane tree, which is the F1 tree identified, is in poor condition due to its branching structure, will require removal to enable for the construction of a driveway approach. The tree, which is the F1, has 3 main trunks, which are adventitious shoots that have sprouted as the tree was apparently a stump. And this multi-trunk tree now is recommended for removal as it is not a suitable candidate for preservation due to the poor structure and its close proximity to the proposed driveway approach. An additional London Plane, which is F4, as identified, will require removal as it is directly in conflict with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power approved staging area within the public right-of-way, and it is required for the installation and maintenance of this proposed transformer to supply power to this new development. The remaining 3rd London Plane tree, which is identified as F5, will require removal as it is directly in the footprint of the proposed driveway approach. As it pertains to the alternatives explored, Urban Forestry Division does endeavor to retain healthy, mature street trees whenever possible and will only consider removal of mature street trees after all alternatives have been explored and considered. There are 5 trees growing along the project's frontage, of which 2 will be preserved and protected in place throughout construction. Due to the project's scope relative to the tree's size and condition, the possibility of tree preservation or relocation was not feasible for the 3 London plane trees previously mentioned. As part of the condition, if the board approves this request, the applicant shall plant 3 24-inch box-size London plane bloodgood trees along the project's frontage to the satisfaction of Streets LA. And in order to satisfy the board's 2-to-1 tree replacement policy, the tree planting guarantee fee of $1,945 shall apply for the 3 trees which are unable to be planted due to spacing restrictions, and this would total in 5,835 trees, again going into the tree replacement guarantee fee. All replacement trees on site shall be watered for a minimum 5-year period after planting. Addressing the environmental impact of this approval as it pertains to the CEQA determination, the Department of City Planning prepared the notice of exemption, which is the case number ENV-2019-2357CE, and they determined that the project, including the tree removals, are exempt from the CEQA guidelines. This project will not have a significant effect on the environment, and none of the exceptions to the use of a categorical exemption as set forth in section 15300.2 of the state CEQA guidelines apply. And planning's environmental documents were used in making this finding and is on file with Streets LA and available to the public upon request. And it is also within the transmittals provided to the public within this board report. As it pertains to notifications, the 8th Council District was informed of the tree removal request on October 3rd, 2023, and was to notify Streets LA of any objections received by their office. To this date, Urban Forestry has not received any objections to this notification. Public comments of this tree removal would have been received here at this hearing, and the notice of proposed tree removals were physically posted on the subject trees on June 22nd, 2023. The proposed tree removals were also included in the Bureau of Street Services tree removal notification system. The Community Forest Advisory Committee and Department of Neighborhood Empowerment were also notified of these tree removals. And the applicant shall defend, indemnify, and hold harmless the city, its agents, officers, or employees from any claim, action, or proceeding against the city or its agents, officers, or employees relating to or to attack, set aside, void, or annul this approval. This concludes my presentation to the board, and I am available for any questions that the board may have at this time.
Thank you so much, Brian, for your report. Are you able to hear us okay?
I'm getting a little bit of echo, but I can discern what you're conveying.
Okay, perhaps now you won't hear an echo.
Yes.
Okay, and we're good. Okay, well, thank you so much for bringing us. Was a pretty lengthy report, and there's obviously this is a little bit not our normal way of approving tree removals. We do not approve on any staging requirements when there's a removal for staging purposes only. However, my understanding, and please confirm, is that it's not just for staging. Department of Water and Power will install a transformer in that area. Is that correct?
Yes, to be clear, it is not for construction material staging, but rather the staging of the equipment, the cranes that are necessary for LADWP to install this actual transformer on the site.
Okay, very well. Any questions, colleagues? Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. And thank you, Brian, for your report. Just a quick question and also just clarification. Thanks for just informing us that this is a 100% affordable housing project. Just wanting to know, the trees that will be removed, the 3, and since we have a tight, I guess, public right-of-way and don't have space to replant trees, where is the alternative sites, or where, I know that we're going to be collecting a fee, but is there a way for us to do perhaps a tree planting event or something in that neighborhood where we can still replace those trees?
Yeah, to that, I think I'd be more than amenable to holding discussions with potentially the council office regarding an event for the tree replacements. Definitely, I can have our staff go out and re-inspect the close proximity of that project, find available sites, again, directly adjacent or close to that project, and seek to plant these trees as early as we can.
Okay. Yeah, I'll follow up with you on that. I know that our tree inventory obviously identifies areas, in CD8 and neighboring communities that are in need of additional shelter. So to the extent that we can use that as an overlay to identify where trees can possibly go, that would be great. And then I'll follow up with you with the council district as well.
Great. That's an excellent recommendation, VP Villegas.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Vice President Villegas. Any other questions or comments? I don't see any other lights. Okay, thank you for this. We understand that also this is an Executive Directive 1 affordable housing project, so we definitely want to make sure that we move this along. Any objections, colleagues? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 1 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Dr. Davis. A second by Commissioner Corson. TJ Knight, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Commissioner Corson to move item number 1 forward and forthwith.
Very good. And we will take a roll call vote on item number 1, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes. Item number 1 is adopted and will move forward forthwith.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Brian. Have a good rest of the day and good to see you, even though it was online today.
Likewise.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 2, this is a request from our executive office, Office of Petroleum and Natural Gas, request for a proposal for an RFP for rental and royalties Phase 2 assessment, recommending the board to authorize the executive officer to, 1, distribute and release the transmitted RFP to conduct additional research and develop the rental and royalties Phase 2 assessment. 2, evaluate the RFP submission, select and interview the most qualified proposers who submits the best and most responsive proposal. 3, negotiate any proposed contract with the most responsive proposer after the receipt and objective review of all proposals submitted in response to the transmitted RFP. And 4, return back to the Board of Public Works with proposed contracts award consideration. And this morning, we have Ms. Erica Blyther here joining us. Good morning, Erica. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good morning, all commissioners and department heads. Thank you for your time and flexibility. I'm Erica Blythe, the city's petroleum administrator, and I'm providing some background and context for this item. The purpose of this request for proposal is to ensure that the city is being paid the accurate royalty amount by oil operators. Back in June of 2018, the Los Angeles City Controller issued an audit review of the City of Los Angeles oil and gas drilling sites, making a number of recommendations on 3 main items: protecting Angelino's public safety and health, protecting taxpayer financial interests, and increasing transparency. Among them was the recommendation to determine whether the city received appropriate royalty amounts. In April of 2020, the Office of Petroleum and Natural Gas commissioned Interact PMTI to conduct research into the city records for the purpose of determining whether royalties from petroleum mineral rights being paid by city paid to the city by oil and gas operators are accurate and complete. The focus of the records review was to obtain lease contracts between the city and oil and gas companies or operators that develop the property. This initial project showed a large discrepancy of potentially $31.8 million annually between the best guess calculated and the audit amount. And you can view this chart, and it's on page 2 of the item's board report. And there could be a large discrepancy. And the purpose of this is to really narrow down the discrepancy. The reason for the discrepancies may be due to missing documents, changing the lease terms, miscalculation by the operator of royalty due to the city, or erroneous assumptions made to calculate the best estimates. The portion of this royalty due to the city depends on the specific terms of each of the leases. Therefore, further research into the agreements is required to determine the city's portion. There's also a recognition that the city should obtain those documents on a regular basis going forward. More research is needed to resolve the discrepancy and ensure that the city is being paid the accurate royalty amount. This research is termed the Phase 2 assessment. The purpose of this RSP is to solicit proposals from proposers for the development of the rentals and royalties Phase 2 assessment. That includes contacting operators to provide oil and gas production volumes, actual oil gravity and pricing associated with royalty going forward, overlay city-owned property with existing active wells, land service providers do chain of title research on some of the initial 16 contracts, create an updated list of leases, surface use agreements, unitized agreements, and quitclaim leases to update what we had to work from, which was a 1987 list of leases. And this will be updated by pulling data from each department, land service provider, the State Office of Oil and Gas, CalGEM, and operators to generate an updated list, including the lease name, department, oil field, current operator, date of lease executed and expiration, oil drilling district, and the ordinance number from City Council. And most importantly, to develop day 4 procedures for the Petroleum Administrator to review and verify royalty payments to each department on an annual basis. The city will rely on the consultant's expertise to develop the rentals and royalty study. This RFP is subject to the Business Inclusion Program outreach requirements. Due to the technical nature and expert nature of the work, the contract may not be able to reach the outreach target for subcontractors. This work is highly specialized and few contractors possess the ability to conduct it. However, the selected contractor will need to demonstrate good faith outreach efforts in compliance with Executive Directive 14. The city will advise the contractor to attempt to reach participation levels of 18% minority business enterprise, 4% women business enterprise, 25% small business enterprise, 8% emerging business enterprise, and 3% disabled veteran business enterprise. The proposed action to release the RFP will not have a fiscal impact. However, the Board of Public Works Executive Office anticipates a fiscal impact of $200,000 upon consideration and award of a contract to launch the citywide assessment on lease management, excluding internal city department costs. This RFP will likely result in additional annual revenues in excess of this amount. Funding for this project in the amount of $200,000 has been appropriated in the current fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. Funding is currently in the city's unappropriated balance, and a request to transfer said funds is pending from the City Council after the release of the RFP. And I'm available for any questions.
Thank you so much, Ms. Blyther, on your report today. Any questions, colleagues? We hadn't seen your this coming. I just want to clarify, Erica, about a year ago or perhaps a little longer, you came to the board for requests for proposals for 3 other contractors. And we went through that process. Maybe that was longer than a year ago. We went through that process. We approved contracts for 3 different contractors. Now, is this part of that contracting opportunities that we had through your office, or is this something different and new?
This is a separate thing.
Okay.
So the 3 I think you're referring to is for the amortization reports. So that work is ongoing, and we're continuing to do that. This is another project.
Okay.
There's a lot of oil and gas work to be done for this.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to figure out where we're at on this one. So the project for this one is to really get us to receive some rental and royalties for the city, correct? Okay, so this is good. This is a money generating proposal for potentially for the city.
Yes, potentially $31 million annually.
Got it. Okay, I see the import. Thank you for that. Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. And thank you for your report. Just for clarification, is this for an existing line?
So there are existing leases that the city receives revenue from oil and gas operators, but they go to various departments. They don't necessarily come to my office, so they'll go to General Services, they'll go to Department of Water and Power, to the Port of Los Angeles. But no one is looking overall at all the revenue and making sure the lease terms are kept up to date. So it's a project to put those procedures in place so that this office will ensure that the revenue is being generated
Okay.
and received properly.
Okay. So it's streamlined or kind of clarifying how the money is also coming to our board.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Corson?
Thank you. Erica, thank you for the report. I'm just curious why we couldn't do this internally.
So there's some expertise in terms of researching the leases that some of it is requiring landman services in order to do property research and things like that. So that's expertise that's beyond this office. What we do want to is generate some procedures that we can apply in the future so we don't need to have expertise, but also staffing levels and expertise within the office is not adequate to provide these services, but we are hoping to get a training component so that we can do this type of work ourselves in the future.
But for $200,000, it seems like we could just hire one or two people to do the work rather than contracting it out.
That's an idea.
So
I mean, that'd be great. It'd be great to have more staff, but
my concern is, when I hear expertise, for something like this, it makes me feel it's going to be a narrow field of people who submit quotes, and even though it's been a short time, I go back to that one BOE contract of some service provider that we've been given a contract to because he's the only one qualified for nearly 30 years now. And I get into this thing of, if we can do it internally, rather than having, being stuck with an outside contractor for decades. And this seems like one of those things where we want to do it for decades, and we should have been doing it for decades. So I just hope when you are prepared to come back and we vote on selecting someone or an entity that maybe you could provide us what it would take to transition from an outside contractor to an inside staff member to do it, whether it's a new person or current staff member.
certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Corson. Erica, just on piggybacking a little bit on that, but this is a very selective type of expertise that you're going to look for. So it's not as it's not as common to have this type of background. How are you going to do an outreach so that we can get a good amount of bids coming in?
Yeah, we've done some preliminary outreach. So there's the original contractor who did the first part of the study. So they've had some different acquisitions and things, but we've reached out to other firms that do this. So it's technically called landman work. It's not very, up to date with standards and the way things are charmed, but it's called landman work. And so we have reached out to some landman firms that are in other states as well as in the state of California. So we have a list of corporations that do this type of service. So we are doing outreach to them.
Okay.
So they're aware of this.
Understood. Okay, I don't have any other questions, any other comments, colleagues? This is an important work that we need to get done through our petroleum office. Any objections? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 2 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second? Thank you, VP Villegas. TJ Knight, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 2 forward and forthwith.
Very good. We will take a roll call vote on item number 2, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas. President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes, and item number 2 is adopted and will move forward forthwith.
Great. Thank you so much, TJ, and thank you so much, Erica.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I will connect with you afterwards, but thank you for this, and I look forward to getting a good amount of bids for this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the day. Colleagues, moving on to item number 3. This is a request from Bureau of Street Service and the Bureau of Contract Administration for a contract award, routine and emergency response hazardous waste management services. Recommending the board to, 1, authorize the Bureau of Street Services to utilize the Bureau of Sanitation's competitive request for proposals process for routine and emergency response hazardous waste management services and execute a contract with Clean Harbors Environmental Services, Inc. for 5 years with 2 3-year renewal options. 2, approve and forward this report with transmittals to the mayor's office and the city council with the request that the board be authorized to execute a Bureau of Street Services contract with Clean Harbors. And 3, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the contract upon approval by the mayor's office and city council. And this morning, we have Ms. Iniguez here. Good morning. How are you, ma'am?
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, President Garcia. Good morning to the entire board, commissioners, representatives, and board staff. Martha Iniguez, representative of the Bureau of Street Services. Streets LA is seeking the board's authorization to utilize the Bureau of Sanitation's RFP process for the routine and emergency hazardous waste management services and to execute a contract with their selected proposer, Clean Harbors. In April 2021, the board authorized sanitation to distribute an RFP for hazardous waste collections from their residential special materials program, also known as their SAFE centers, for solvents, automotive, flammables, and electronics, which are called Task A services, and for routine and emergency hazardous waste field collection services, which are called Task B services in sanitation's RFP. Since Streets LA doesn't have SAFE centers, the following information I'm providing is only regarding Task B services. Sanitation received proposals for Task B services from Clean Harbors, Clean Earth, and U.S. Ecology by the July 2021 deadline. Sanitation found all 3 proposals were able to satisfy the city's needs and began contract negotiations with them. However, this was during the COVID pandemic. All 3 proposers requested to revise their rates due to the COVID-19, inflation, supply shortages, and the minimum wage increases. Additionally, on August 12, 2022, Clean Earth withdrew their proposal entirely, citing extreme risk to profitability. This left sanitation only with 2 proposers, Clean Harbors and U.S. Ecology. A 5-panel sanitation evaluation team reviewed and scored both proposals. 8 additional points were awarded to Clean Harbors because they are a certified local business enterprise. Sanitation's final scores were 98% for Clean Harbors and 69% for U.S. Ecology. On March 8, 2023, this board authorized sanitation to award and execute a contract with Clean Harbors. Clean Harbors subcontractor pledged participation levels under sanitation's $75 million contract, which included both Task A and B services, were 1.03 MBE, 2.03 WBE, 0.46% SBE, 0.46% EBE, 0% DVBE, and 4.47% OBE. Streets LA's annual average expenditure for hazardous waste services over the past 3 years is about $1.15 million. This contract has an annual CPI increase built in. If we assume a 5% annual CPI rate increase for the entire 11-year term, the average annual expenditures could be anywhere between 1.9 million and 2.6 million. So we based our contract with Clean Harbors on the $2 million per year average for a total of $10 million for the first 5 years of the contract. Clean Harbors contractor pledge participation levels for the Streets LA contract will be 5.1% MBE, 2% WBE, 2.1% SBE, 2.1% EBE, 0% DVBE, and 17% OBE. Again, based on the initial 5 years with the $10 million contract. And again, this is only for Task B services, as we do not need Task A services. Streets LA contract term shall mirror Sanitation's contract term. Therefore, this contract shall be effective as of November 1st, 2023. Beyond the initial 5-year term, we will have 2 3-year renewal options, and only if needed, an additional option to extend the contract on a month-to-month basis for a maximum of 6 months. That concludes the report. I can answer your questions.
Thank you so much, Ms. Iniguez, for your report this morning. Colleagues, any question on this item? Commissioner Reyes.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for your comprehensive report there. Just one question from the standpoint of street services, piggybacking on this specific contract. Do you have a process or a plan on how you're going to monitor and ensure that there is, you're complying with the requirements, or is it just the vendor doing the work for you? What is the connection in order to make sure that there is accountability on your part and the vendor's part?
I don't have the specifics of the accountability because I am not the project manager on this. Perhaps if the project manager is a panelist, I'm not sure if he is.
Do we have the project manager online?
Is that Mr. Gary Leco?
Yes, good morning. I wouldn't be the project manager, but I oversee the Bureau of Street Services, Street Maintenance Division, and we use Clean Harbors quite often. So as far as I can answer for accountability would be that when we do have Clean Harbors come out, we first do an inspection of what needs to be done. If it's in the field as an emergency, or we have facilities that are regularly serviced. And for the accountability, we have supervisors that oversee all these operations, and we sign for all of the work that's completed.
So there is a report back to you. Once you sign the work, there's a report back, work has been completed. Are there any report requirements to any state agency, or is that the responsibility of the vendor?
That would be under the responsibility of the vendor, and that is part of the contract.
And you do see those reports?
I do not see those reports, no.
Okay, who sees those reports? Is that sanitation? No?
I don't know.
No, I mean, the Clean Harbors is sanitation. Okay, we need, I would like to get that information just for the information of the board.
There might be something in the contract.
Right.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I believe there is something in the contract that says the documents do go to street services.
Okay.
But I can double check it and get back to you.
All right, could you please double check and get back to us? That'll be good. Thank you so much.
So Commissioner, you're trying to find the accountability that we will have with this contract, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, what methods do you, because this is not a new contract to Bureau of Street Services as well, right? You used Clean Harbors in the past?
Yes.
Yes. And you're, basically this contract, as it's laid out, you've laid it out the same as sanitation has done it, which sanitation has had this contract for multiple years as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, so just to kind of make sure that Commissioner Reyes is getting her question, will you, since you mirrored this contract with sanitation's current contract, are you also mirroring kind of the way that they provide accountability for the work that they're billing us for?
If it's included in the contract, then yes, it would be exactly the same.
Okay, is there, when I think moving, generally we don't have a problem overall with this contract and we're fine. I think we have, I'm gonna ask some questions about the length of it, but overall, can you extract that from the contract to see what the accountability structure looks like? And then can you send that over to us?
Absolutely.
Thank you. That will probably be, okay, that would be adequate for us. Okay, thank you. If you can send it to, I don't know if the rest of the commissioners want it, but definitely Commissioner Reyes and myself. If that's the case, can you send it to TJ Knight? And TJ, as our executive officer, will make sure to get it to all of us in our email boxes.
Will do.
Thank you, Ms. Iniguez. Yeah, I think I had this conversation with you when we were discussing it during the briefing, but, you know, it always worries us when it's such a long term and for such a huge amount of money that we are going to contract with, but through our conversation, Ms. Iniguez, and to make it clear and transparent publicly, why is it that we continue to partner with Clean Harbors at such a large amount?
Well, based on the proposals, they are the most qualified to do this type of work. Even without the LBE additional 8% points, they would have still scored 90% over US Ecology's 69%.
Correct. And also, just to add to that, they are probably the most capable to take on the workload that the city of LA requires to have. Is that correct?
Yes, they have experience actually, I believe, throughout the entire nation.
Yeah, thank you.
They do.
They do. Okay. Any other questions, colleagues? Vice President Villegas.
Thank you. I was, just for the public's edification, I know that today we have Bureau of Street Services asking for us to do a contract with Clean Harbors, and to their credit, I don't have anything, I know that their work is great, but just this contract before us is for 10 million. And that's just with this bureau. They do have, they're on a as-needed list. They're also on our emergency service list, with Bureau of Sanitation. So they have a lot of business with the city of Los Angeles, to the extent that we can, ask them to, meet our goals. I think it's prudent, but just, for the public's edification, this isn't the only bureau that extensively uses them. And, and to the extent that we can figure out why others can't, do this business, either locally or can't partner with other businesses, I think that would be mindful. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. Marta, we'll just wait for that information before we deliver. Any objections? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 2 forward and forthwith? I'll move. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Corson and Dr. Davis. TJ Knight, there's a first by me and a second by Commissioner Corson and Dr. Davis to move item number 2 forward and forthwith.
Very well. We will take a roll call vote on item number 3, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes. Item number 3 is adopted and will move forward forthwith.
Thank you very much. Ms. Inouye, thank you so much. And sir, I didn't catch your name. What was your name again?
Gary Laco with the Bureau of Street Services.
Gary Leco, good to have you both here. Thank you for stepping up and answering questions. Ms. Inouye, we'll look forward to that information. Want to make sure that we do have, for such a large amount of a contract, we want to make sure that our accountability is really structured correctly so that we can make sure that we, as a city, get the best service that we can through Clean Harbors.
Yes, will do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, colleagues. Moving on to item number 3. Give me a second. I think that was item number 3. Sorry, item number 3, forward and forthwith. That's why I felt it was a little weird. All right, moving on to item number 4. Getting it together here. In all council districts, this is an administrative item for the mayor has approved and authorized the Board of Public Works on behalf of the Bureau of Street Services to execute the proposed personal service contracts between the City of Los Angeles and 5 consultants on the pre-qualified on-call service providers as needed outreach and education service for the sidewalk and park vending program. And this morning here, we have an item number 4, Mr. Manuel Perez. Mr. Manuel Perez, good morning. Welcome. Good to see you.
Good morning, President Garcia and esteemed members of the board.
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, we're ready when you're ready. Oh, yeah, no, we're ready when you're ready.
Okay, I think FMD is going to be commenting on the financial portion of this event. Melinda Chow, are you here?
Melinda?
Yes, I'm here. Commissioners, before you, this is really just an admin item. This report was actually adopted by the board back in February 2023. So we've been pending Executive Directive 3 approval from the mayor's office, and we just received this. So this is really just an admin item for your board to read it into the record and give assign authority to execute those 5 contracts. So just for the public's history, this is really a list of pre-qualified contractors that will be used on an on-call basis to provide outreach services for the sidewalk and park vending program. This was based on a RFQ that was released by the CLA's office a couple years ago, and the only reason that we are doing this now is because when the CLA went through the RFQ process, they never finalized the process by entering into contracts with these contractors. So this is really just to formalize the process, because in prior years, we've been basically using the services of the providers through annual AFEs. So this is to simplify the process and actually finalize that RFQ process by entering contracts with these contractors. And there are basically 5 service providers in which we will be issuing tosses when we do need their services. One point that I do want to bring to the board's attention is that in the past, the Bureau has been provided with $350,000 annual appropriation for this purpose. However, in fiscal year 23-24, that amount has been reduced to $50,000 a year. We are asking for an increase again for the next year's budget of $350,000, and hopefully that will go up next year. But again, the contract does have language in there that is, although each contract can have a ceiling of up to $350,000 a year, it really is going to be based on the funding appropriation allocated each year. Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Melinda. Is that the end of the report from Bureau of Street Services?
Yes.
Thank you. Any questions, colleagues? Melinda, I know that we're just, basically finalizing this contract now. When you say they're going to be on call, can you give me an example of what they would be on call for and how we would utilize these contractors?
They're really for outreach and education purposes. So they can serve as whatever it is that we need to do in terms of marketing, how to get permits for the sidewalk vending program, or just to educate the potential vendors out there and businesses, and it kind of maybe even step in as a middle person to explain more in layman's terms, or if we need information that needs to be distributed in different languages, for example, they would be solicited for this type of work.
Very well. Thank you for that description. I don't see any questions here. Dr. Davis?
So in terms of the services that they are providing, the method that we have chosen to give them tosses, would there have been an alternative that we could have used to go out to bid on this? And would it have taken too long to look at these other methods and utilize them as we think about the potential work that we have in this area?
This really goes back a couple years. Like I said, this was a joint project that was initiated by the CLA's office a few years back. And so it was a joint effort with CAO as well as Rec and Parks and Streets LA. So at that time, it was determined that the most feasible method would be to go out and do an on-call list, so that when we do need any kind of outreach services, it's going to be readily available rather than scramble to release an RFP at that time.
Okay, so it would be much more time effective in terms of being able to achieve somebody ready to work more expeditiously through this method, as opposed to us putting out a request for proposal in the market for others to compete. Is that right? Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you for that, Melinda Chow, on that report. Any, Vice President Villegas?
Thank you, and thanks for bringing this item to our board. I'm glad that it's here now. I know this was a long time coming, and perhaps we can just look at it in a different way in terms of getting education out there, since a lot of the program has been more formalized now, just with legislation that's passed. On our public, our retail food code. And then also, I know that there's been just many meetings that have taken place in the past, just, working with LA County Public Health. So there was a lot of work that was done, to get to this point. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. But I'm hoping that we can just work with our, advocates, on this issue, just to really help us out, throughout Los Angeles. While we want everyone to make a living, I do realize that, in some areas, we just need to be mindful of our public right-of-way and keeping some vendors, just at a, at a space that is going to be good for everyone. And then I do know that, some other areas may be just, hotter than others, and I don't know what the right word is to use, but we do know that education just on this issue, just for vendors, that we do want to make a living, on this, in this line of work, is helpful. So I'm hoping that we can just, really maximize the expertise of our folks that are under contract with BSS. Thank you.
And just to clarify, the contractor, community-based organizations that are spread out throughout the city that know the community, their communities, and that's why it's easier, correct, Abuse Street Services to reach out to them so that they can reach out to their constituency right in their neighborhood. So, it's overall, it's a great thing to have a list of community-based organizations that are always ready to do some outreach and education. All right, I don't have any other issue. I don't have issues with this item. Any objections, colleagues? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 4 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Is there a second? Thank you, VP Villegas. TJ Knight, there's a first by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 4 forward and forthwith.
Very well. We will take a roll call vote on item number 4, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas. Aye. President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Item number 4 is approved and will move forward forthwith.
Very well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Melinda, and thank you, Manuel, for your time this morning. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, President Garcia. I apologize for interrupting you. We do have, I would like to make a motion to reopen the voting tabulation on item number 3, as there was a clerical error in the disposition that requires that your board vote on the adoption and referral to mayor and city council, as is stated in recommendation number 2. Whereas when I read it into the record, I only read in the adoption of the report. So if your board would be so considerate as to hear a motion for reopening item number 3, and then I'll read into the record the amended disposition, and then your board can vote on that.
Okay.
That was moved by President Garcia and seconded by Commissioner Corsand and President Pro Tem Davis.
And this was also the one that we can actually do it correctly now, because I said item number 2, and it was really item number 3.
Yes, correct. I
So-
did read into the record the correct
Yeah,
item. but
so, colleagues, if you're okay with reopening item number 3 so that we can get the correct language there, is there a motion to open item number 3? Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Thank you, Dr. Davis, for a second. That's to open item number 3 again.
And a roll call vote on reopening item number 3, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas. Aye. President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes, and item number 3 is reopened.
Okay. So now, TJ Knight, can you state the amendment language correction?
Yes, very well. Thank you so much, President Garcia and Commissioners. The disposition that you'll vote on is that the report be adopted as amended forthwith, and the report will be adopted and referred to mayor and city council.
Okay. Oh, because it had, okay, I see the change.
Whereas the first vote was just adopted, and it
Yeah.
does need to be adopted, and so is a clerical error.
Okay,
by-
and forthwith, okay.
Yeah.
Is there a motion on the table to move item number 3 forward and forthwith as adopted and amended?
Correct.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second? Dr. Davis? TJ Knight, there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 3 forward and forthwith. Sorry,
Adopted
move
as
forward, forward and forthwith.
adopted as amended forward and forthwith. Thank you so much. And we, so first by Vice President Villegas, second by President Pro Tem Davis. We'll take a roll call vote on item number 3, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas. Aye. President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
And item number 3 is approved as amended, and we'll move forward and forthwith.
Okay, good. I'm sure Ms. Newis was a little nervous there.
Yes, I would like to take a moment just to thank my staff, Lamisha, for pointing out that correction to me. So thank
Okay.
you so much, Misha.
Thank you, Lamisha, for making sure we're on track here. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 5. This is a specification submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. Council districts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 for a traffic signal backlog reduction, Phase 1, Envision Zero traffic signal improvements, second rebid, work order E1908997 for an estimate amount of $12,481,493. Bid receipt date will be December 20th, 2023. Is there a motion on the table to approve this item? Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. TJ Knight, there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Commissioner Reyes to move item number 5 forward and forthwith.
Very good. We will take a roll call vote on item number 5, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
Item number 5 is approved and adopted and will move forward forthwith.
Thank you very much for that. Moving on to item number 6. This is a specification submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. Council districts 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, and 13 for sidewalk repair program package number 66, access request acceleration sites. Work order E1909079 for an estimate bid amount of $1,698,205. Bid received date Wednesday, December 20th, 2023. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item? Thank you, VP Villegas. TJ Knight, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 6 forward and forthwith.
Very good. We will take a roll call vote on item number 6, starting with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corsan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
All ayes. Item number 6 is adopted and will move forward forthwith.
Thank you for that, TJ Knight. Colleagues, I just want to make you aware that item number 8 has been request for continuance. And TJ Knight, do we have a date when we want to hear item number 8 or not yet?
We do, Madam President. The request is to be postponed to December 15th, 2023.
Okay, a month from now.
Yes.
Perfect. Any objections, colleagues? Hearing none, we will hear item number 8, Public Works Trust Fund update on December 15th. Going back to item number 7, this is a landfill closures update from the Bureau of Sanitation. And this morning, we have Mr. Miguel Cermeno joining us from Sanitation. Miguel?
Yes, good morning, Madam President.
Good morning.
Okay, here I am. Yes, I'm here to present item number 7, which is an update on the closed landfills that the Bureau of Sanitation manage. Good morning again, Commissioner President, Commissioners, Bureau of Representatives, City Attorney, and Executive Office. I am Miguel Cermeno with and I am a Solid Resources Manager with the Bureau of Sanitation. We manage and operate the city's own closed landfills. The city does not own or operate any active landfills. The city only owns and maintains 5 closed landfills, which include the Lopez Canyon, the Toyan Canyon, the Bishop Canyon, Jaffe Street, and the Sheldon Arleta landfills. All of the landfills are currently under post-closure maintenance as required by Cal Recycle and other regulatory agencies. These sites also are being used for beneficial reuse. I'm going to start with the Lopez Canyon update. This particular landfill is in Council District 7. It's located at 11950 Lopez Canyon Road and Lakeview Terrace. It operated between 1970 through 1999. It operated for 21 years. It's been closed for almost 27 years. It comprises of 399 acres, of which only 166 acres were used for landfill. The landfill stopped receiving trash in 1999, which took about 19 million tons of trash. The post-closure officially was completed in the year 2012. From there, LA San has continued to maintain it under the post-closure, and it will continue to maintain it for the next 19 years until 2042. This particular landfill has a gas collection systems for the collection of the gases produced by the degradation of the trash that is buried. The gas collection system prevents these gases from being released to the atmosphere and to pollute the environment. Also, in addition, the remaining 230 acres are being used for beneficial reuse to the community. Currently, there is within the area, there is a landfill gas energy facility, which is owned and operated by a third party. The company the name is Opal Fuels. Currently, this particular power energy generates about 2 million kilowatt of green power every month, which it is sold to DWP. The amount of energy, the 2 million kilowatt hours, that powers around 2,400 homes on a monthly basis. So it's a good thing. It does benefit the community to keep them running, and helps with green energy for us to reduce fossil fuel to produce energy. The city does receive revenue from the sale of the power by the company. So that's a benefit to the city for working with the power plant. In addition to that, within that area, we also have the Lopez Canyon Environmental Center, where it's a composting facility. We currently take only yard trimmings from city departments and from landscapers, as well the horse manure. These feedstocks are processed to produce mulch and compost, which will offer for free to the residents, to schools, and nonprofit organizations. In addition to that, we also have the Lopez Canyon Environmental Education Center, where residents come and learn about the backyard composting. We learn about the smart gardening and stormwater harvesting. We have a partnership with Pacoma Beautiful, which offers classes on the fourth Saturday of each month on urban gardening and backyard composting. These classes are so popular that we have about 70 people attending the workshops every month. Also, what we have within that addition, the 230 acres that is there's no trash, we have constructed a helicopter pad for the fire department. This was constructed with a partnership with the fire department. This particular helipad is next to the 1 million gallon tank that is on top of the hill, where the fire department use that as for training purposes, but also to do firefighting. This has been very useful in the last couple of years when we had fires within the community, where the fire uses that helipad. They refill from the water tank, and they go ahead and put out some of the fires. In addition to that, we've been working to increase community green areas in there. The last project that we have completed was the horse trail development that took place. The grand opening took place about a year ago. This was a community partnership with Council District 7 and sanitation, and the community, which gave input on what they wanted to do or how they wanted that area to be improved. We improved it by providing horse trails in a equestrian staging area where people can come bring their trucks and their trailers with their horses, where they can go ahead and take walks with the horses and with their animals. In addition, we're working right now on another project. This project is known as the Lopez Canyon Green Space Improvement. It's a park next to the entrance of the Lopez landfill. We are upgrading that particular park. We're upgrading the playgrounds to become, because they're not ADA certified. So we're removing the old playgrounds, and we're installing new playgrounds for compliance with the state. In addition to that, we're putting walking path. We're adding exercise stations. We're also building a dog park and picnic areas with shade. We anticipate to complete this projects by spring of 2024. As well, we engage with the community. We do have biannual meetings with the local community where they can come and they can tour Lopez Canyon, and so they can see the different activities, what's going on with inside the landfill. They can go ahead and ask us questions where they can communicate with us either through email, phone calls, and our next meeting with the community is December the 6th. Moving on is Toyin Canyon landfill, which is closed. It's in Council District 4. It is located in 5050 Mountain Hollywood Drive in Griffith Park. This particular landfill operated for 38 years, and it took, this particular only operated, yes, correct, 38 years, and it took about 16 million tons of material. This particular landfill also has a gas collection system, and it has a power plant where all the gas the gas is collected, and it also is converted into green energy. Also, this particular landfill also has a horse trail where people can come in and ride their horses, and also has picnic areas where people can go ahead and take a quick stop and provide water for their horses and so forth. The energy facility is being operated by the company Three Phase, and also the energy is sold to DWP. Moving forward to the next landfill is Sheldon Arleta. This particular landfill is in Council District 6. So its address is 12445 Wick Street in Sam Valley. This particular landfill only operated for 12 years. It is the size is about 40 acres. This Sheldon has been and is being transitioned to a recreational park. It's been going through different phases, meaning phase 1 took place more than a decade, where they built baseball areas, running track, as also phase 2 already did the same thing. They expanded with basketball courts, and right now it's going through phase 3, where they're going to expand. They're going to expand by constructing basketball courts and also soccer fields. And then we move on to the next one, which is Gaffey, which is in Council District 15. This particular landfill is located at 1400 North Gaffey Street in San Pedro. It's operated for 13 years, and it's been closed for more than 60 years. So that this landfill is basically inactive. It's inert now. It's a 17-acre parcel. Most of the area has been converted into soccer fields, where you have the AYSO very active in that, where a lot of the kids come in and they practice soccer, and they do have events. And then the community is very engaged in that particular landfill. In that particular area. And the last landfill is the Bishop landfill. This particular landfill is located in Council District 1, and its address is 929 Academy Road. It only operated for 3 years, and it's been closed for more than 55 years. As of today, this particular landfill has been converted into a beautiful park. In the last 5 years, we did an upgrade. We had some concerns with settling. We rebuilt the baseball court, and right now we do also have barbecue area where people can come in and spend time with their family and enjoy a baseball a baseball game. As well, we do have that we have restrooms in a concession building where they can go ahead and buy some snacks. This particular this particular area is being managed by Rex and Parks, and that concludes my report. Any questions?
Thank you, Manuel, for that very thorough and good report, giving us a a landscape of our landfills throughout the city. I have a couple of specific questions on some of the landfills, but let me pass it over to my colleague, Dr. Davis. Oh, no? Okay. No questions? I think mine is specific. I see that in your City One landfill, you do have restrooms. Is that because it's being managed and programmed by Rec and Parks versus your Lopez Canyon one? My understanding that there are no restrooms on that one, right? For the park piece of it, yes. Sorry, being specific for the park construction piece of the landfills.
Correct. That is correct. For the Bishop one, it's near the Dodger Stadium. In that area, it's been redeveloped to for parks recreation. So
what is the name of that park or that recreation area?
I don't have that information, Commissioner, but I'll get it back to you.
Okay, please.
It is known as the Bishop. I might have a picture. They call it Bishop Canyon.
Bishop Canyon. Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and so just to clarify, because I heard you say in in the Lopez Canyon Park piece of this, you're going to create, which by the way, thank you so much that you're going to rebuild that, but you're going to create some picnic areas, right? Now, are you all? I didn't hear restrooms.
Yeah, for the upgrade of the park in Council District 7, where that particular upgrade, there were never restrooms in that area, Commissioner. So we're not adding any restrooms at all. And one of the things we did with that, we had many meetings with the community to provide for feedback and input on what they wanted in that park, and there was no mention of restrooms, and the reason is to prevent from homeless moving in and use those facilities. So we were trying to, the community, it was like, let's not provide any amenities, if you want to call them, to have people to use them during nighttime.
Okay. Yeah, that's a tough situation because we're putting a picnic area there. So I don't know how we're expecting to have congregation with no amenities.
Right.
We do have restrooms, Commissioner, and they're probably about maybe 400, maybe about 100
right,
yards
on the
from
Lopez Canyon entrance,
on the Lopez
right?
Canyon side, correct.
Got
That's
it.
where we have where we do have restrooms.
Okay, let's just leave it as that. I would like to see the community input, but let's just hold on that one for now. No official action. I'm just kind of hold my thoughts on that for now. Dr. Davis.
Yeah, I want to build upon that discussion in terms of our planning about these things. Specifically, if in fact we don't have any restrooms and it's 400 feet away, had we ever given very serious and critical thinking to, if we did in fact have a restroom, we could lock it and it would be operable during certain specific hours, as opposed to providing this facility for the public comfort. But in fact, one of the most critically important things to have for the public is a restroom. So what kind of critical thinking, if any, did we do in our thinking about that in this particular location?
Well, when we started this project, Commissioner Davis, it was to just upgrade the existing park, which did not include any a restroom. Uh, the location of this park is surrounded by dwellings, you know, so a lot of a lot of the residents that actually use this park live within a close proximity, and so that was the you know and that was one thing. Also, when we did community input, uh, that never came as part of the discussion. So we it was not even part of the original design to add a restroom at that time. So
I
the
would have
feedback
thought,
we didn't get that.
yeah, I hear you. I would have thought that as experts, and you did have some consultation in this work with some experts, didn't you?
But we got this correct. We
Did we
have
have a consultant? Did we have a,
yes,
did we pay anybody to help us in this planning?
no, the whole thing was
No,
done
this all
in-house.
came from staff,
It came from staff. That's correct.
but even we're paying staff. Nobody in staff had any thinking about this kind of thing?
You know, Commissioner, I need to go back to to the designer of the project when we receive it. On our end, sanitation, we normally do the construction, and by the time we get the project, it's already designed and ready to go.
Were
I
any
will,
engineers involved in this project?
yes, there were
I can't
architects and
imagine an
engineers.
engineer
Yes,
not thinking of that. I
yes,
really
yes.
can't. Let me ask some other questions. In terms of the landfill closures in general, do we have to have any cleanup of any of these projects that we've closed recently? Do we have to have any cleanup in terms of hazardous waste or that kind of thing?
No, because these landfills do not accept any hazardous waste, Commissioner. This is mostly just regular house, regular trash from the residents. This landfill prohibits from taking any material that's considered hazardous material. So not at all. We normally what we do in order to make sure the safety of the public is that there's the methane production is extremely low or non-detectable in order for us to start building, in this case, soccer fields or baseball fields. So we do monitor, and we are required by the state to make sure that the levels of the gases coming from the ground are minimal or non-detectable.
I see. And there obviously are no health risks in that effort for us to use this for public usage for activities such as recreational activities, right?
That is correct. And prior to even building anything, we do actually compact the soil, extremely compacted to 95% in order to avoid any gases escaping from underground. So we do go through a process to make sure we prevent that. We do also have gas collection systems in all the existing facilities and it's still there underground, that in the event there's any gas coming, they will actually have flares with this, where we collect these gases and actually we flare it. So no, that we have some safety factors in order to prevent from the public to be exposed to any of the gas coming from underground.
Do we, in our practice of closing landfills, have any other usage for the landfills after we have closed them other than utilizing them for public activities such as recreation? Are there any other alternative usages that we've had for the closing of landfills that you can recall?
Not at all. Not at all.
So we use them mostly as a practice for public activities.
If my understanding, Commissioner, is a lot of when the landfills get converted, they normally get converted to open space. And once we convert it to open space by policy or by law, we are required to use them for that purposes. So if the need was to convert those areas to residential or other beneficial uses, that's something that it has to go through a different process in order to notify the zoning.
They would not, there aren't instances of using them for industrial space in any way through construction of any kind of industrial or commercial kind of usages when we have the closing of landfills?
You know, Commissioner, I'm not familiar with that, and I don't have the expertise to address that. So I'm familiar with other up in Northern California that they have done that. You know, they have converted some of their landfills to industrial areas, but they have gone through their own process. But here in LA, in the city of LA, all the existing landfills that the city owns and operates are normally used for recreational purposes.
My final question. In terms of our closure of landfills, what has been the motivating factor for us closing landfills? Have there been multiple and various different reasons, or is there some thematic effort that we use towards closing landfills because we have some kind of goal and objective to limit landfills for a certain reason?
I'm not familiar with the decisions of why the landfills were closed. Commissioner, I can only speak on what I read or heard from Lopez, and because the other landfills were maybe 60 years ago. It's been the community. The community has addressed that they don't want that type of operations or landfills in their community, and then they wanted to have a beneficial reuse of that area. So that's as I can go back and find out and come back and find out more information to answer your question, Commissioner.
All right. Thank you so much for your report.
Thank you for that, Dr. Davis. Commissioner Reyes?
I just want to add that also it's a public health issue with our landfills because of methane emissions that is stronger and more toxic than our carbon emissions. And there's also the issue of groundwater contamination. So that's why we're very careful about our landfill operations. The requirements are very strict. And the diversion away, diverting materials away from the landfill is really a priority right now by the administration, that we have to be 100% diverted away. Those materials that we normally put in the landfill will no longer be allowed. The goal is 100% diversion by 2050. So that is still a ways, but the reduction and also the recycling, repurposing of the materials that we use will add to that. One question I have is the monitoring of those emissions. That is something that is already embedded as part of our operations and maintenance process, right?
Commissioner Reyes, yes, and thank you very much for providing some of the input that you mentioned. That is correct. We are regulated from AQMD to make sure we're in compliance on how much greenhouse gases get emitted. We do have a crew of 13 inspectors daily up at Lopez, walking the area where we bury trash, make sure that there's no cracks, make sure there's no gas coming from the ground, and if we notice anything, we repair that right away. So we actively engage daily. That will be for the gas, also for the groundwater, as you indicated, Commissioner. sections of the landfills are lined. They're lined to make sure that nothing pollutes the groundwater. It's known as leachate. The leachate we collected, and that it gets diverted to the sewer to make sure it doesn't contaminate the groundwater. Also, we could monitor. We have monitoring wells at the landfills to make sure that we do not pollute groundwater. So we do have all those in place, and we have staff at Lopez where we do daily tracking and we do reporting to the different agencies to make sure we're in compliance.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes, and thank you, Miguel, for answering all of our questions. Landfills are something that we obviously pay attention to here. Any other questions, colleagues? Hearing none. Is there a motion? Well, there is no motion for this. Thank you so much, Miguel, for your report. How often do you come to give us a landfill closures update? Is it once per year?
Once a year. Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Anything else from Miguel? Bureau of Sanitation? Hearing none. Thank you, Miguel. Have a good rest of the day, and thank you for giving us such a thorough report.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Very well. Colleagues, TJ Knight, is that the end of our voting items?
Yes, it is, Madam President.
Great. With that said, I just want to announce that this Friday, we will also do our presenters via online. So if you're going to present this Friday, we are okay with having you join us via online. If you want to come in person, no problem, but we are trying to adhere to some of this huge traffic impact that we have on the 10 freeway, and it's also going to be layered by rain as well. So we are just doing it for this week only. Next week, we should go back to normal operations.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, TJ Knight. And this will be followed by an email from TJ this afternoon. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none. Commissioners, it is now 11:40 and this meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of the week.